Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. We've got some serious news coming out of the Steelers camp that could have major implications for their season. And it's all about injuries, specifically to Calvin Austin III, who's been turning heads in training camp and preseason. But now, unfortunately, it looks like he might be facing a significant setback. According to Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Austin has suffered a shoulder injury that could keep him out for several games. The latest reports suggest he left the stadium in Ireland, where the Steelers have been doing some of their off-season work, potentially to get X-rays on that shoulder. And let me tell you, if those X-rays reveal a serious injury, this could be a huge blow for the Steelers' passing attack. Because losing Austin, who has shown flashes of explosiveness, could really hurt their offensive options, especially in the early part of the season. Now, for those of you who follow the Steelers closely, you know how important it is to have reliable targets for Kenny Pickett. Austin, in his second year, has been a player to watch, especially after a promising preseason where he looked like he could be a game changer. But the reality is, in the regular season, he's been limited. Only targeted twice over 4 games. Can you imagine that? That's not what many expected after all the hype, especially considering how dynamic he looked during summer practice. The coaching staff has been cautious, perhaps, but it's clear they wanted him to have a larger role. If he's sidelined for a while, it creates a big question mark for the Steelers' offense, which has been trying to find its rhythm early in the season. This situation becomes even more critical when you consider the other options in the receiving core. Roman Wilson, for example, has had a tough time getting targets. Despite the hype and the potential he showed during the preseason, Wilson has only been targeted twice in 4 games. That's quite underwhelming, especially given the initial optimism about his ability to step up. Many fans and analysts thought he might be the breakout player early on, but it's been a slow start for him. And with Austin potentially going down, that leaves the Steelers in a tricky spot. Do they give Wilson more opportunities? Well, it seems like the coaching staff isn't fully sold on him just yet, or maybe they're just trying to be cautious. Still, if Austin is out long-term, that could open the door for Wilson to finally get some meaningful targets. But honestly, Wilson appears to be in the coaching doghouse right now, which complicates things. So, if Wilson isn't the answer and Austin is out, who do the Steelers turn to? Well, one possibility is Scotty Miller. He's been around, and while he's not a superstar, he's familiar with the system and could be called upon to hold down the fort. But relying on Miller as your primary replacement isn't exactly ideal, especially if the team is looking to make a push for the postseason. They need more reliable options, and that's where the idea of making a move in the trade market comes in. If Austin's injury turns out to be serious, the Steelers might need to look for an upgrade, someone who can step in and produce immediately. Now, one intriguing possibility is exploring a trade for Xavier Legette, a player who's been on the radar of many NFL teams, including the Steelers. Legette was a first-round pick for the Carolina Panthers last year, and while he hasn't exactly set the league on fire in Carolina, he's shown enough potential to warrant a fresh start. The Panthers have struggled as a franchise, and Legette has been dealing with a hamstring injury that's limited his play. If he checks out physically and is healthy, Pittsburgh could make a call. He might not cost too much in a trade, and the Steelers are no strangers to trading for young receivers who need a change of scenery. Legette has the kind of athleticism and confidence that could make him a valuable second option for Kenny Pickett. Remember, the Steelers have shown pre-draft interest in him, which indicates they see potential there. He's a guy with a lot of natural playmaking ability, but he just needs the chance to show it on a consistent basis. The key question is whether the Panthers would be willing to part with him so early in the season. It's always a gamble trading mid-season, but with Legette's talent and the need for depth at receiver, it's a risk worth considering, especially if Austin's injury turns out to be more severe than initially thought. And let's not forget, the Steelers have a history of finding gems in the draft and in trades. They're always looking for ways to improve, especially at the wide receiver position, which has been a bit of a revolving door in recent years. The team's management is well aware that a reliable second receiver could make all the difference in their offensive production. With the current roster, they've been relying heavily on George Pickens, who's been fantastic, but they need someone else to step up and take some pressure off him. Austin could have been that guy, and if he's out, the pressure just intensifies on the coaching staff to find a solution quickly. Now, for the bigger picture, the Steelers are in a really interesting spot early in the season. They've had some ups and downs, but the defense remains one of the best in the league, anchored by their fierce front seven. But offense has been a bit inconsistent, and injuries like this only make it more challenging. Kenny Pickett has been showing flashes of the quarterback we all hoped he'd become, but he needs more reliable targets, especially in third-down situations and in the red zone. The absence of Austin could be a setback, but it also creates an opportunity for others to step up and prove they belong in Pittsburgh's plans for the long haul. One thing's for sure, the Steelers' coaching staff isn't sitting still. They're aware of the urgency and are likely exploring all avenues, whether it's promoting from within, giving more opportunities to Wilson or Miller, or making a bold move in the trade market. The NFL is a league of adjustments, and Pittsburgh has always been a team that adapts quickly when faced with adversity. The hope is that Austin's injury isn't as serious as feared, but if it is, the Steelers will need to act fast. That might mean exploring deals with teams like the Panthers or others who have receivers struggling for playing time or consistency. It's all about finding the right fit, and Legette is just one name among many that could help stabilize the situation. Now, let's talk about the broader implications. If the Steelers can pull off a smart trade and bring in someone like Legette, it could invigorate their offense and give Kenny Pickett a much-needed weapon. It's about building depth, ensuring that even if injuries strike again, the team remains competitive. The AFC North is a tough division, with contenders like the Ravens and Bengals always lurking. Pittsburgh knows they can't afford to fall behind early, especially in a division that's so competitive year after year. So, every move counts, and the management team is definitely paying attention to every detail. You also have to consider the long-term outlook. If Legette or another similar player comes in and performs well, that could shape the Steelers' plans for the future, especially with the draft and free agency in mind. The team's front office has shown they're willing to make bold decisions when necessary, and right now, they're probably weighing their options carefully. They need to strike a balance between winning now and building for the future, and that's what makes this whole situation so intriguing. Injuries can be frustrating, but they also open doors for new opportunities, and Pittsburgh is no stranger to rising from setbacks stronger than before. As we look ahead, the key will be how the coaching staff manages this injury crisis. Will they give Wilson more chances? Will they turn to Miller as a stopgap? Or will they make that trade and bring in someone new to shake things up? All signs point to the fact that they're exploring all options. And as fans, we should stay tuned because this story is far from over. The team's resilience, their ability to adapt, and their strategic moves in the coming weeks will determine how successful they are in contending this season. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Austin's injury will be a big blow, or are you optimistic about the team's ability to adjust? Would you like to see the Steelers make a trade for Legette or another receiver? Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Steelers. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates and insights, so stay tuned for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news. Keep the faith, stay passionate, and let's see how this season unfolds together. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Steelers.